All right, guys, this is an ongoing thing. Sadly, it's a major issue, and it does happen to fall in Motorcycle Awareness Month. And e-bikes are being classified as motorcycles on some level.
No, not really. Kind of,
but not really. Let's get into it.
Okay, so what's happening right now in Clark County? Now, remember, Clark County, you think of Clark County as big. think about unincorporated Clark County. Clark County Commissioner, the commission has just said they are going to create, they're regulating e-bikes, e-scooters in a different and new way. So specifically, they are limiting where they can be ridden and how quickly they can be ridden in certain areas. So it's kind of a mix between rider safety and pedestrian safety. And they've created a new scheme for fines and are prohibiting certain activities in certain areas such as stunts and wheelies. So first, I think it is helpful to understand what a motorcycle is. So tell me, Mikey, what's a motorcycle?
This is like another popular question out there. 2 wheels with a motor?
Almost.
Okay.
2 or 3 wheels.
2 or 3. Oh, trikes included.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the default rule is if it has 2 wheels or 3 wheels and a motor.
Gotcha.
It's a motorcycle with exceptions. Okay, so the exceptions are, and I might miss 1 or 2 of these, but if it's a moped, it's not a motorcycle. If it's an e-bike, it's not a motorcycle. If it is a e-scooter, not a motorcycle. And if it is what is that called? The Can-Ams.
The slingshot?
No, but there's a term for it that I'm not all that familiar with. But there's a specific term for that.
Those are the ones with 2 wheels.
Autocycles? Yeah, the 2 wheels in the front.
2 wheels
one
in the front
back.
with the motorcycle.
Yeah, those have been declassified as motorcycles. It's their own thing.
Okay.
And that's a fairly recent development. So you have, let's talk about moped. So a moped is going to be something that has a cap of either 50 cc's or 30 miles an hour. If it's more than 50 cc's or more than 30 miles an hour, it's not a moped, therefore it is a motorcycle.
Gotcha.
Scooter. I'm trying to remember what the exact definition of scooter. I want to say cannot exceed 20 miles an hour. If it exceeds 20 miles an hour, it's not a scooter, it's a motorcycle.
And that's a stand-up?
Yeah, stand up or sit.
Okay, sit or standing scooter. And if it goes over that...
Because remember, the default rule is 2 or 3 wheels. Yeah. It's a motorcycle unless it falls under the exception. And if it doesn't fall under the exception, it's a motorcycle. So e-bikes. There are 3 categories, 3 classes of e-bikes. And the safety features on the different categories, I think, is the main difference, although I have to double check. It's one of those where we almost never have to actually fight a legal battle about whether it is or isn't a motorcycle, although that day I'll probably have that case at some point. And so what Clark County did is it looks to me like they adopted the Nevada, the NRS, our statute's definition of these terms, and then went in and said, you can't operate. So scooters or e-bikes can't operate e-scooters or e-bikes on the sidewalk. What I hate about these. Okay. And these aren't really great tutorials because here it says protected zones and parks, electric motorcycles are banned in county parks, but I don't think there's a definition of electric motorcycle. It's just motorcycle.
And when it says parks, that means like on the walkways.
Anywhere in the park.
So, I mean, you can't even like ride it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's really vague.
It's vague, but it's got a speed limit. So for your e-bikes and your e-scooters, there's a 15-mile-an-hour cap in the parks. And anybody who is under 18 must wear a helmet. And by the way, just as a parent, and I see these kids in my neighborhood who are riding these scooters and e-bikes, I endorse this. They need to have helmets. It's
even if you're on a bicycle or a skateboard, it's you always.
I make my kids wear helmets on those.
I'm that parent too. Like I'm the strict one when it comes to that. But
which I never.
You see a couple of head injuries.
Did you ever wear a helmet when you were a kid?
No.
I mean, there were some like serious rides where
we were still riding in the back of pickup trucks. So helmets aren't really, they weren't, enough of my age group didn't pass away yet.
I remember we had
helmets that came later.
We had a church youth activity where we were riding down really steep, windy roads down a mountain. And I remember they made us get helmets for that. But other than that, I never wore a helmet as a kid. But I absolutely make my kids wear helmets. And so now you can be fined, though, if your kid isn't wearing a helmet. What's interesting, though, is the fines are not limited to the kids. Your kid gets fined, the parents fined.
So let me ask you this. This is the county doing this.
The county.
So if you get the fine, where does that fine go? Does it go to like Las Vegas Justice Court? Or do we know where, like, how do you pay that fine?
I don't know. I've not seen one of them yet. So, I mean, the answer is probably. It's probably going to be Las Vegas.
So it'll be like
Clark County Justice Court.
So they're going to call the police will be the ones that come out?
Yeah,
right?
The police will come out. Gotcha. They'll write a ticket. It'll just
same
be like
as the, okay.
I assume.
Yeah, park rangers too.
Right. And so they'll write a ticket, and it depends on how many violations you've had. But if you've had enough violations, it could be up to, I think, was it $600 cap on those?
Yeah.
So it could get expensive.
The county has come up with these, right?
Yeah.
But these are already NRS?
Yes and no. So the definitions of these vehicles are already in the NRS.
Gotcha.
And the county seems to have adopted the definitions in the NRS, but the county has imposed additional requirements for the county where you can get fined under county ordinance for operating these without a helmet. For adults, it's recommended. For the kids, it's necessary for the helmet.
So legally, like a county ordinance can just come into effect as long as it like aligns itself with NRS?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it can't override the NRS, but if there's a space the NRS is not regulating, then it can come in and regulate that. So for example, if the NRS has no comment about speed, then they can come in and the county can give a speed.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know.
So, but what cannot happen is the county ordinance cannot directly contradict the state ordinance.
Yeah. Okay.
Or the state law. So, yeah, these are, you know what? I think in general that these are a good thing. They need to be regulated. They're getting too prominent.
It's a good sign. Like, at least this shows movement and, some sort of, it shows that they're paying attention.
They're paying attention.
I mean, there's a lot of toys that have come out over the years that kids have gotten hurt, but I've never seen anything where kids have died as much as these. And
it's not that you want to restrict them completely, because they're still good toys and good tools, but
there's a place.
There's a time, a place, and a manner, and so it needs to be regulated.
Yeah, because I remember those like, they were calling them hoverboards, but they were like the two-wheel. Those came out like left, and the emergency rooms were full of kids with those, but they weren't dying for the most part. I mean, on a much smaller level. It wasn't every other day where traffic was closed and, there was a junior high kid. Local,
and part of it is the adoption rate of these devices. They're so popular that, people, there's just a ton of them out there right now.
And I know my kid's school, he's not in the school district, he's in a charter school for junior. They're no longer allowed to bring them on the property. So that's another good thing too.
I know my wife so my kids go to public school, and the middle school, I have a kid in middle school, my daughter, and my wife keeps on wishing that they would prohibit these things on that property, but they don't. They don't.
So maybe that would be another, because now, my son's been on me. He wanted one for Christmas and he didn't get one, but he knew he wasn't getting one. It was clear, like, you're not getting one. Moving forward to now, he's like, well, I guess it was a good thing. Like, he's like reverse guilting me or whatever you call it, because now I wouldn't be able to ride it to school. And it was like, oh, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's parental foresight, right?
Yeah. But, on that side of town, there's been 2 at the same intersection in the last 2 months, fatalities. So they're definitely starting to wake up. They're starting to see something. It's good to see it. And maybe, we'll get the school board on again. And we're not evil fun killers.
Well, you're talking to 2 motorcycle riders.
Yeah.
We're not evil fun killers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But we do want to see some regulation. I want to see you out there for years, not just one summer. You know what I mean? Like that's, and that goes into the same thing with like motorcycle awareness. We want to see you have a long career of riding, not one fun summer where the weather's nice, you go out, you get smacked, killed, and it's over.
That's the end, yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. We want the community to grow, not stay the same or go the other way.
Exactly.
So that's what it all comes down to. So we'll keep updating on these as we get more information. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you, Jared. And, as always, it's a pleasure to have you.